Welcome back, friends, family, and that one guy who managed to get his hand on an iPad and for some reason accidentally clicked on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Welcome back. GM's Live is back for the first time on Coast to Coast Network in over a month. Matthew Perry, Will Polston here for GM's Live today. Matt, how's it feel, man? We're back.
I miss nights like these. It's nice being able to just talk. You don't have to edit a video. You don't have to set things up. That always feels good.
Hey, man, we say we don't have to edit a video, but there could be one coming. Keep your eyes out on that one. Keep an eye on the channel. Well, that'll definitely be a nice little little toss already. Let me get that channel link for everybody who's here and happy to be here. Maybe first time listeners. Let's just drop that in there right away. Boom, boom, pow. That comment right there. Boom. Put that all the way at the top. How do I pin a comment from here? I don't think I can. But hey, there's the channel. Make sure you go click on that link. Come join the family. We've been looking for new family members every day. So, so we are back. And there's been, so much has changed. So much has happened in over a month. And so much has happened in just the last week. We need to just start off right away. I think the number one thing is I think we should just start with the hottest of news. Fresh off the press, oh boy, Buster Posey, Gonzo, see you, bye-bye. Calls his career after 12 years. A little bit short, and not necessarily, if I'm not mistaken, early 30s, pretty young to be calling a career, especially for a guy who had a season like he did. I mean, you start to think that Buster Posey could hang around for a little bit, but let's get your opinions here first. Obviously Buster Posey leaving, and hell of a catcher. It's going to be a little bit of a blow to the MLB, but let's just get your first thoughts.
Yeah, we heard the speculation last night. We began receiving reports about a potential press conference today and announcement. Of course, we did get that. I think it was 6 o'clock Eastern. They did that out in San Francisco. And, overall, it sucks. It's a little bit of a surprise, but with Buster Posey's injury history and everything that he's been through in his career, especially being as a catcher, it's hard to kind of, stick around. I feel like catchers out of all positions in baseball have something of the shortest lifespans, shortest shelf life, if you will. And obviously Buster Posey made the most of it, a 12-year career. He did pretty much everything you can do in a successful baseball career. He won an MVP. He won a batting title. 3 rings. Most people can't say they've had that resume, and it does go on and on. I do think of his generation, he was the best catcher. And now, with Posey out of baseball, the catching position's been in a rough state, and now, it's probably the worst it's been in a long time.
I hate that you say that. But
am I wrong though? Am I wrong?
I don't know. Are you wrong? I'd love to get a couple people's opinions on that right now. If you're watching here, big baseball fans, anybody down there, if you think Buster Posey leaving puts the catcher position in one of the worst positions it's been in quite some time, let's get your opinions on that. Where's the catcher position stand? Do you think it's still strong? Do you think there's enough people in the catcher's position? Maybe this is just the start of the new one. Obviously, you got to expect now with Buster Posey gone, you got to expect Joey Bart's going to be coming in right behind him, which will be a decent addition to the catcher position. Right now, your catcher's positions are, whenever you think of your big catchers, you're thinking Real Muto, you're thinking Salvi, you're thinking, now you got to think Wilson Contreras. You got to think, Wilson Contreras has got to be up there for some of the top catchers right now.
Yeah, and that's the problem. He has to be up there. He's the 3rd best catcher in baseball right now. He shouldn't
maybe not necessarily 3, but he's got to be up there.
He's definitely probably top 5, honestly, because who else are you going to put in there? Real Muto is. I guess he's still elite. Salvador Perez, of course, had the best offensive season of his career. He has to be considered elite, but from there, they're the only ones. I can't call Wilson Contreras elite. I don't know who else there would be. Of course, it's definitely not Gary Sanchez. Really, there's nobody else out there catching wise that can be in that conversation.
Not Yaz?
Yaz, the outfielder?
Oh, Yasmani Grandal?
No, he's not elite. His on base, the way he's able to get on base is elite, but overall, I don't think so. He's good. I don't know about very good or elite, but I'd start him on my team. I just wouldn't put him in like an MVP conversation or anything like that.
Oh, I don't think it's. I mean, other than Salvi, I don't think any catcher's really been in that conversation for an MVP since Buster Posey, since he won it back whenever the hell he won it. It's been almost a decade now at this point, but it's been a while. But I mean, the catcher's position is typically one that's kind of overseen in the first place. So, I mean, I think we're getting ready to see the new wave of catchers. Obviously, you're going to see Adley come up here in a little bit. You're going to see Joey Bart in a little bit. You're going to see Henry Davis, the number 1 overall pick of this last year's draft, is going to be up with the Pirates, and I'd assume at 2 or 3 years. I'd imagine the catcher's position is soon to be. Justin, I appreciate you addressing Yadier Molina, but obviously he's going to be on the tail ends of his career too. He's got no more than 1 or 2 seasons left in him. This is the generation of catchers is getting ready to turn over, and you're getting ready to see the new wave. Sam Huff, another catcher that could be coming up here soon with the Rangers. So that'll be fun to see. Let's see here. We see Frank, welcome back. It says the Mets catchers Alvarez is highly rated young catches in baseball at 19 years old.
He's still years away, though. I still hear he's like 3, maybe even 4 years away. So, Alvarez is great and he's flying up the prospect rankings, but it's going to be a little bit before we see him. And to, comment on what you said, well, I agree that a new wave is coming in, but I think there's a little bit of I think this is going to be a gap year, 2022. I mean, you look at the free agent class for catchers, there's really nothing going on there. A couple of players like Christian Vasquez, they have options, but I don't really think those will amount to anything. But yeah, the future is somewhat bright. I can't disagree with that. Adley, Henry Davis, Joey Bart, Sam Huff. But right now, like at this very moment in time, it's pretty dim.
Salvatore, another one of our resident Mets fans, says that he's about 2 years away, and that's what Frank was saying, 2023 as well. So we could be looking around 2023 for Alvarez. But yeah, no, the catcher position is definitely, as a catcher myself, it definitely could be better. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of decent pieces in there. I mean, it's not the sexy position by any means, but even when the new wave comes through, it's still going to be one of those positions that's overlooked. Justin just pointed out a very obvious one that I've forgotten about, Will Smith. Will Smith has to be up there with the top catchers. He's got to be, he's better than Wilson Contreras. He's got to be top 3. So it's, that's another thing though, is that the catcher position is unfortunate, but it's forgettable. Will Smith, one of the best players on the Dodgers, bats in the 4-hole. One of the only catchers to bat in the top probably 4 or 5 spots in the lineup and in the MLB. But it's just kind of forgotten about. Typically, a lot of the great catchers you don't typically think of being catchers, which is unfortunate. But Will Smith is one of the best young and upcoming, probably the up and coming number 1 catcher in the MLB here soon enough. I would not be shocked. But hey, while we're on the topic of baseball, I saw Brian Crawford stopped in here. Where did I see his comment go? I know I can find it. Boom. Obviously, we know about these guys. The World Series champion, Atlanta Braves. They are able to walk out 88 wins in the regular season, and somehow, shout out Brian Snicker, walks out with a World Series title over Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros. Hell of a series, went into 6. Trevor Plouffe back in March said, yep, that's what's going to happen, which is, I mean, it's just fun to say. Obviously, I don't think he necessarily knew it was going to happen. I don't think anybody necessarily knew it was going to happen, but the Braves, no Acuna, no Ozuna, no Morton after game 1, no Soroka. I mean, it was just piece after piece going down for the Braves, and yet somehow, some way, through the additions of some of the most random outfielders at the trade deadline, put together a World Series team. And now the Atlanta Braves are a 2021 World Series championship. Matt, take me through your thoughts. The Atlanta Braves winning it all. What were your thoughts on the series? What was it about this Braves team that really kind of impressed you? What was there anything in particular, or just take me through your thoughts on the Braves?
The work of general manager Alex Anthopoulos. I might have botched the last name. The work he did at the deadline paid dividends. Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, key factors offensively for all throughout the playoffs, especially into the World Series. Oh, and Jorge Soler, the World Series MVP, he was also a deadline deal. That has to be mentioned. Really fantastic work from the front office, to I can't remember if Acuna got hurt before or after the deadline. I think it might have been right after or before.
I think it was right before because that's when they went and got Jock and all them. And
and Jock, and it was close around there. So quick thinking by them. They luckily there were some outfielders on the trade block, and they were able to make some moves. But you got Rosario for nothing, and Pablo gets his 4th ring, so good for him. And yeah, just overall, you got Duvall for Alex Jackson, who never really turned a corner in Atlanta. So great work by the front office, and they did it. I mean, they were underdogs for most of the playoffs. Getting past the Dodgers, of course, is a heavy task with the super team they put together. Scherzer and Trey Turner at the deadline is insane, adding to that already insane team. So it was really impressive what the Braves did throughout. The big guys stepped up. There has to be a lot of hope and kind of positivity reigning through Braves fans and the team, because you look at this team's future now. Acuna comes back healthy. Mike Soroka comes back healthy. This team can be one of the teams to beat in the National League, and they did come out of a kind of lackluster NL East division. I think they were the worst division in baseball this year, if I'm not mistaken. So that was kind of a shock to everybody. I don't know if anyone really saw the Braves getting that far, but we're happy for RJ, our colleague, who is a big Braves fan. And I mean, it's interesting, no back-to-back champions again this year, of course. And I like how that's trending in baseball. You never really know what to expect. Unlike some other sports, the NFL kind of gets into dynasty territory. The NHL, you might have the Lightning three-peat this year. So it's nice seeing different things. And the Braves were definitely different because you said 88 wins, right? I mean, you're not typically expecting that team to win a World Series. So I overall enjoyed it. I'm happy for the Braves. I'm heading up to Atlanta tomorrow. Maybe I'll catch part of the parade. That'd be exciting. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with the way the playoffs went.
Let's see. We got a couple of situations here. Brian Crawford, who is a Braves fan, says, "Series surprised me. Shows you how much having a good front office is necessary." Absolutely. Like you said, Eddie Rosario was just literally a softball lobbed up to the Atlanta Braves, and you'll take those any day of the week. Frank also down here says the Yankees were offered Rosario and chose to go with Joey Gallo, which may have been the biggest mistake they've ever made. But then again, Joey Gallo over him because of star power. Joey Gallo brings star power and attracts season ticket holders and attracts season ticket holders. When you look at a guy like Rosario, you would say as a Yankees fan, who is he? Do you agree with that as a Yankees fan? Do you think you go with Gallo because the Gallo Rosario? What do you do here?
Gallo's the sexier name, and I don't think the Yankees had Eddie Rosario doing what he did for the Braves on their radar. Eddie Rosario has always been a great player, and it kind of shocked me when the Twins let him walk, let him go to the Indians, because I just don't see any reason to sleep on Rosario. And then I guess the Indians sleep again, or at least try to free up cap by trading him for Pablo Sandoval. Questionable moves, but obviously Eddie's made the best of it. I would love to have Eddie Rosario on the Yankees at some point. I think he was a guy around the trade deadline that I kind of somewhat vouched for. If we go back to older videos, it might be in there somewhere. But you can't hate Joey Gallo because the power's there. Yes, he slumped in New York, but he still hit, I think, like mid-30s for home runs just in Texas, just in that time with the Rangers this season. And he's a Gold Glove finalist this year again, although I'm surprised. It should have been Judge, but Gallo does have good defense despite a couple odd moments at the end of the season. Totally see why the Yankees went with it. You got the short porch and right. You expect better from Gallo, and hopefully this is going to be Gallo's money year. It's the final year of his contract coming up. He's going to want to play his best baseball, so hopefully that's what we get from him.
Shout out Justin, always a staple in the comment section. He's out here. Said it like 4 times in the last 6 comments, so I guess we should address this question.
Sure.
He said, what do you guys think about the PETA trying to change the name of a bullpen to an arm barn?
People say it for fun now. I've casually seen arm barn around Twitter and stuff now, so it's not going to officially replace it. I think officially it'll always be the bullpen. At least I hope so. But people are having fun with it on social media, so why not? I mean, it's around.
It's like the IL and the DL. I'm never going to call it the IL. I've gotten so used to calling it the DL that it's the DL. I mean, even I don't even use the words. I just say it's he's on the DL. You know, it's common to me. It's always going to be the bullpen. It doesn't matter. But hey, World Series, like Justin made a good point. Father beats son in the World Series, so that's a pretty cool situation. Whenever you get to see those guys kind of go up against each other, the Snickers were going up. His son, if I'm not mistaken, the hitting coach for the Astros. So that's a cool situation. Justin is calling right now Correa to Boston in the offseason. He's calling that one right now, and I know you and I will probably have a video coming out here soon enough within the next week or two talking about our free agent predictions. And Hickey's saying Brett is now a free agent. I'm assuming he's just referring to Brett Gardner.
Today the Yankees declined Darren O'Day and Brett Gardner's options, so they're free agents.
Could Brett Gardner actually go to another team that's not the Yankees? Crazy talk.
No, I think he'll retire.
Probably. What's up, Isaiah? Glad to see that you guys are back live for the first time in a while. Hell yeah. 7-0 Jets. Mike White is a stud.
Let's go Jets. Love the Jets.
Love the Bulls. Love the Hilltoppers. What a guy. We'll talk about the NFL here in a minute. Obviously, going to be competing with Thursday Night Football a little bit as the Jets take on the Colts. For all those big Jets and big Colts fans that are tuning in, you know, we're going to be competing with them a little bit, but that's going to be a hell of a game. But
wait, so yeah. I have a quick idea. Hold on. So since we have a bunch of baseball fans in here right now, we've yet to go back and look at our predictions from last season's free agency. I can quickly share the screen and we can filter through our video from last year and see how right or wrong we were.
You and I went through this and you got like 2 right and I got none right.
That's it?
Yeah. You got like LeMahieu going back to the Yankees. Dude, I didn't get a single one right.
I think this year we might get a few.
I think we could, but I know last year I think I did not say anybody was re-signing. And so I think the only person I said was re-signing was Yachty, and I think that may have been the only one I got correct. Everybody else, I think I was completely wrong. I know you said LeMahieu was going to re-sign. I didn't. And I know, like, basically all the ones we got right were re-signings. I don't think we got a single one right going to another team.
What did I say for Simeon? I think I said he'd re-sign in Oakland, I think.
Maybe. I don't remember. We would have to go back and look at it.
We'll look at it off camera.
Let's see. Now it's 7-7. Shout out, Brian.
Something.
Colts quick with it. Let's see here. Prediction. The A's are so cheap to pay any regular MLB coaches, and they name me as manager instead. Yeah, I hope you're right. I would love to know an MLB manager. That would be pretty sweet. Yeah, right. Hey, if you get hired for that job, you're coming on. Justin also said thoughts on Oakland firing their head coach, being Bob Melvin. I guess we could talk about that a little bit. Do you have any particular thoughts on whether or not getting rid of Bob Melvin, or is it just more of just, hey, is it the Oakland A's just kind of cheaping out? You know, what's that situation? What do you think?
Well, it wasn't a firing. It was just not accepting, I think, the option. So that is what it is. But Bob Melvin's a good manager. Hopefully he serves the Padres well. I thought Jace Tingler was a good manager, but they just kind of absolutely fell apart. He'll find a job somewhere, and it could be in Oakland, honestly. But I do think Ron Washington deserves a discussion back in the managing game. He obviously managed Texas all the way to an AL championship, just over a decade ago. So he should be in the conversation for Oakland. And I don't really have any thoughts on, how or why Oakland did it. I think it was just to free up some space. I know they were supposed to pay Melvin like $4 million this year or something. So, it's the little things, and this might be one of the tighter off seasons for Oakland. Matt Olson is in discussions of being traded, which would be interesting for future Yankee. Maybe, who knows? I'm not saying that, but it'd be cool. We'll see. It's going to be interesting for Oakland, and a new manager is going to be the start.
Frank says the rumor in New York is that the Oakland A's in Oakland, that the Oakland A's are going to rebuild and start fresh and hopefully get a new stadium.
Yeah.
I would love for them to play somewhere other than O.co. That place is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
That is gross. Isaiah said, in all seriousness, though, me personally, I want Bannister as the A's manager. He's a fiery personality. Jeff Bannister, yeah, and all his success he had as the Ranger manager. Yeah, real big name out there. Mike Schultz available if you need a manager. There you go.
He didn't do anything wrong. Free Schilt.
Hey, free Schilt. Free my man Schilt. Hire that guy. If you need a manager, go get Mike Schilt. He didn't do anything. Instead, we just decided to hire Ollie Marmol for some reason. The one free agent I will mention, and I think it's kind of relevant to mention, and because he opted out this morning, Nicholas Castellanos, Mr. He's basically the Unabomber, basically the Zodiac Killer. He is horrible. He just hits home runs whenever terrible things happen. And he was set to make about $17 million for the remainder of his 2 years. Now opting out of Cincinnati, I think it's the more I think about it, the better of a move I think it is. I think Nick Castellanos had a great season. He could make some pretty serious money, and I think he could go to a contender. And I don't think he's going to be sitting there looking at that necessarily in Cincinnati. So do you agree with him to opt out, even though he had about 17 guaranteed, or do you think it, try to get another change of culture, or do you think this is more of a personal situation for him where he wants to go contend, or do you think it's more of a get your bag situation?
Well, he hasn't been very vocal as to what he's looking for yet. I mean, he's 29. It is around the age where you're hitting your prime. You're going to want to get your big bag. So he could either be taking a chance on himself and hoping he gets more than $17 million annually on his next contract, which could happen. There's a little bit of a market for outfielders, and he does have a little bit of corner infield experience, so he could slot in there if necessary. Is he looking to win a ring? I don't think the Reds are in a spot right now where they can really win a ring. The Brewers are obviously getting better, and I think the Cardinals are actually bringing it together next season. I think it's going to be a big year for the Cardinals this year. So I don't think the Reds are really in that spot. He could see that too and kind of try to move elsewhere as to where he can be more successful. There are many different ways he could go about it. It could be personal reasons, who knows? But it does make the hot stove. It makes free agency more exciting. Nick Castellanos being out there, so I'm excited to see where he goes.
Hey, yeah, it's hard to disagree with you there because I think Castellanos is going to be one of those bigger name free agents now this offseason. I think he right now, I think this year is kind of big if you're looking for middle infield help. It seems to be the big position. Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, Trevor Story, all these names get ready to hit the market. But now you're adding somebody like Nick Castellanos. And especially in a league where we could see after a CBA, we could see a DH in all leagues. So this could be a nice addition. He's not the worst of fielders, but he's not that bad. He's not that great. He's actually pretty versatile. He can play a couple of different positions, first, third, can play the outfield corners. He can play a couple of positions, but I think he'd be a nice little DH spot too, because he's not exactly a premium fielder. If he wanted to slide in and play DH somewhere, I think he'd be a great addition to a couple of teams. But other than that, any baseball news that you really want to get out of the way? Anything in particular that really caught your eye here recently that you want to address?
Let's catch up on comments. Justin, thoughts on Jerry Remy passing away? It sucks. He was a Boston Red Sox broadcaster, but I think he was very good at his job, and he fought for a long time with cancer. So, it sucks losing him. May he rest in peace. Hickey wants to talk about the Mets.
Let's talk about the Mets, baby.
They're still looking to fill that front office, and nobody wants to work for the Mets. I don't really blame them. Brian, no DH in the NL ever. It's happening, and you're going to like it. Everyone who says no DH in the NL now will be loving it in a year after its existence. You'll see offense go up, and your favorite NL team will be better because of it. I think that's it. I think that's all we see.
Frank was also saying that the Orioles have a beautiful stadium, but only generate 4,000 to 5,000 people, and that is so sad. Yeah, you're not wrong. I've been to Camden. Myself, not for a game, but I was out in Baltimore and just got to go out into because the team store's out in the outfield, and it's a pretty open stadium. You get to walk out there and see everything from center field. It's gorgeous. Camden is an absolute beautiful place. for some baseball. I can't wait to actually catch a game there. It's a beautiful stadium, and the fact that some stadiums do only generate minimum fans, and if I'm not mistaken, I know Isaiah in the comments here. I know he works with the Oakland Athletics, or he did at a point. He may have gotten fired for all of his hot takes about Matt Chapman by now. But I know at a point he did work with the Oakland Athletics, and I mean, it is some of the pictures he sent. It's pitiful the turnout they get. I mean, and it doesn't help that they're in a football stadium, which is even bigger and has even more seats that are just not filled. The A's need to figure something out, but also it's kind of tough being in the low financial situation that they're in. But hey, what can you do? So that being said, Brian still does not agree with you. But that being said, maybe it's time to hop over to football. Football has been obviously they're in the thick of the season. Things are going all over the place in the NFL right now. First off, I'll start with not necessarily but also your Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans lose Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is obviously been a workhorse. He's going to be leading the NFL in rushing yards for the next 3 weeks, even though he will not play. And he's out for the season. But who else but Adrian Peterson to just be casually chilling in free agency at the age of 36? And all of a sudden, I mean, Derrick Henry is like a big Adrian Peterson. It really is what it is. Adrian Peterson used to be like the most that's depressing. Right. I really Mike White got hurt.
Really?
Mike White looks like he injured his hand throwing.
Who's their third string?
Joe Flacco, actually.
Yeah, they just traded for him, didn't they?
Fire. Oh, that's gross. Anyway, I hope Mike White's all right. But dude, I mean, Derrick Henry is like the modern day Adrian Peterson. Whenever people used to talk about Adrian Peterson, a lot of people say that Adrian Peterson was like the hardest person to ever bring down. And now I think a lot of people would say that about Derrick Henry. Obviously 36, slightly past his prime, I would say, but he was looking pretty good whenever he was with Detroit in the limited, in the limited reps he got. But Tennessee also, A.J. Brown, they have Julio Jones. Ryan Tannehill's done a decent job over in Tennessee. Do you see this team going a little bit more to continue with the run, or do you think they might actually work in the pass a little bit?
Well, we did talk about this a little bit in our pick'em video for this week. So if you guys haven't gone and watched that, that's on YouTube for you guys to enjoy our predictions for week 9. But as mentioned in that video, I do think that they kind of have to turn to a more passing offense. Adrian Peterson's definitely past the typical prime for a running back. 36 is almost way past that. Really, we don't see many 36-year-old running backs these days. But it'll be interesting to see what he's got left in the tank. I don't think he's played in a couple of years. I could be wrong.
He played last year with the Lions.
How much did he play though?
He was getting some reps. He wasn't like their every down back. He was looking to be like a goal line option because Swift was hurt quite a bit. So it was a goal line option. I mean, he got some carries here and there, but not a heavy workload. He wasn't the main back by any means.
Okay, so he hasn't been the guy in a couple of years. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how they handle this. I do think reps should stay somewhat limited, at least to start. You have receiving options, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, two of the best people you can throw to if you're Ryan Tannehill. So I do think they'll be able to kind of power through this, although it is a great loss. And losing anyone like Derrick Henry is going to really, really hurt your team. But it's about how you recover from that kind of thing. So hopefully the Titans offense will stay afloat and just move to a more pass-heavy game.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Frank down here says Joe Flacco and Adrian Peterson can go hand in hand out the door, finished and washed up to the both of them. Adrian Peterson, I'll be actually interested to see. I don't know how much Adrian Peterson has lost it. I did see a picture the other day that said Adrian Peterson and Julio Jones on the same team is really cool. Too bad it's 2021 and not 2012. And that's a good point. Obviously, both of them are getting up there in age. Julio, a little bit younger than AP, obviously. But Adrian Peterson, I mean, like I said, was the premier back. I mean, literally the best back of his generation. Came out, tore his ACL, came back the next season quicker than anybody expected him to, and ran for 2K yards. I mean, this guy was absolutely electric. Won an MVP off of an ACL. And it's just absolutely ridiculous what Adrian Peterson can do. Now, granted, he is past his prime. He is 36 years old. He's up there in age. He's not Frank Gore by any means, but he is still Adrian Peterson. I'll be excited to see what he can do behind an offensive line that's built for the run, that's used to having a big, heavy-set running back running downhill at people's throats. That's what Adrian Peterson made his career off of. So I'll be interested to see what he does. I think they got to go a little bit pass heavier. Obviously you go out and you go get Julio Jones for a reason. He's had a little bit of health issues so far this season. AJ Brown's had a little bit of health issues so far this season as well. So it's been pretty unfortunate, but I mean, Brian nailed it right on the head right there. That AP really fits this system. I think Adrian Peterson is a great running back to fill in the void. And if he can at least, hold his own for a little bit, that'll be an interesting addition, and I'll be interested to see him come back. I know in one of my fantasy leagues, I tried to pick him up, and literally he was picked up before I even saw the alert. So that was depressing, but hey, congratulations to Adrian Peterson back on a roster. And thank you, Frank, that Indianapolis takes the lead. Speaking of Frank, I see him commenting a lot about this, and obviously one of the hotter topics in the NFL right now is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers coming out, ended up testing positive for coronavirus and immediately was ruled ineligible for Sunday's game. And everybody, with especially getting a negative test on a Wednesday or on a Tuesday, whatever day it was that he got it, and to be automatically ruled out for a Sunday night game, everybody was very confused. Typically with the NFL, you can test positive, but if you get 2 negatives before game time, you're good to go. That was the situation with Devontae Adams. If he could get 2 negatives beforehand, he could still play. Unfortunately, could not, and then ultimately had to sit out last week against the Chiefs. Was it the Chiefs? No, this week they're playing the Chiefs. Had to sit out last week against the Cardinals. Cardinals was the team. So had to sit out for that game. Still ends up winning, but Aaron Rodgers just after that tests positive for coronavirus, and he immediately is ruled ineligible, and everybody was confused as to why. Well, it comes out that Aaron Rodgers is not vaccinated. Aaron Rodgers is immunized or whatever.
Immunized? No.
Immunized, I want to say is the word.
No way. I don't know. Like we're sports people. We don't know doctor stuff.
Yeah, you didn't think who do you think I am?
Immuna.
It's not immunocompromised. I know that.
No.
But it's immuno something. He's fancy words. I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and they put it in simple man's terms that he decided to take some type of supplement or some type of different shot that wasn't the vaccine, trying to get cleared as vaccinated, and the NFL said, no way, Jose, that's not what it is. We're talking Pfizer, Moderna, J&J only, and so now you are not vaccinated, and now boom, you catch coronavirus, you're automatically out for at least 1 game, no matter what the hell the tests say for the rest of the week. By that, he has to go by the NFL. The NFL rules, though, he has been testing daily. He's had to do everything such as that every other player has had to do without being vaccinated. And it's been a situation that a lot of people don't necessarily know about. And, a lot of people are kind of like outraged. It's been an interesting topic to see on Twitter throughout sports media and everything. As you're seeing here, I mean, Justin saying Rodgers lied. Frank out here saying that he won't wear a mask. Like everybody's kind of just jumping on Rodgers. I don't think Rodgers is typically a public enemy number one. I don't think, but a lot of people, it seems like, are jumping down AR-12's throat. So what are your takeaways from this? Where do you stand with this? Obviously, everybody has their own opinion as to why they do or do not take the vaccine. So That is what it is. But, what are your thoughts, Matt? I'd like to hear what you have to say about it.
Aaron Rodgers has just made headlines this football season for all the most annoying reasons possible. You have, the holdout kind of thing in the off season before, around training camp and stuff. You played, I don't know, ARGM, whatever, GMs for Aaron Rodgers, and he makes them go get Randall Cobb. They're working with you. You return to camp. Your team's doing great. You're 6-1 right now. Getting vaccinated really isn't that hard. And I know it's become this big political thing at this point, and it splits people. But you're a professional athlete, and the place you work for, the National Football League, has guidelines. Now, Carson Wentz is a great example from Frank. He's not vaccinated either, but he does his part. He wears his mask when he needs to. It's not that hard to do. It really isn't that hard of a thing. Did Aaron Rodgers get COVID? That's what it was?
He did test positive for Corona.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Halloween just hit. We saw him in all those real cool John Wick pictures. It wouldn't be as cool if they lost this week with backup quarterback Jordan Love to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's one of the dumbest ways your football team can lose a game by your star player not being vaccinated. It's somewhat selfish. I don't know what his family thinks of it or if they're vaccinated, but I'd have to imagine. I think who's he dating right now? Isn't he dating like an actress or something? Is he still dating Danica Patrick? I don't know.
No, they broke up. I forgot who he's dating now.
Yeah, I don't know who he's dating now. I thought it was an actress, and I can almost guarantee you that to be on set of a movie, you have to be vaccinated. So I don't know how his family's taking it or what have you, but it's really just, I don't know. It's very annoying, the antics that Aaron Rodgers has been up to these past several months.
Apparently, Shailene Woodley, fiance.
That is Shailene Woodley.
Says,
yeah. That sounds familiar. Isn't she? I think she's an actress, right?
Yeah, I'm sure she's doing something like that.
She's also related to somebody significant. I'm trying to think of
Iron Woodley. No, I'm kidding. Shailene Woodley. Let's see what she does. She exists. IMDb. Yeah, whatever. She does things. Movies.
She is an actress. She has an IMDb.
Divergent, Insurgent. Sounds like she's in all those Hunger Game movies. Big Little Lies, The Fault in Our Stars, maybe.
Those are significant movies. So yeah, that's an actress right there.
Justin says she's hot, so good for her. Here's my thing, and this is kind of where I'm jumping. I see Frank kind of put it out. Let's see, where did the comment go? Bam. Don't forget you lead by example. Obviously, like Frank had mentioned earlier, Carson Wentz, who cares if you're getting vaccinated or if you're not, if you're doing the right thing. That's the thing. Obviously everybody has their own opinions as to why they do or do not go get it. I'm not jumping down anybody's throat who does or does not want to go do it. Now, granted, in my opinion, this is where the world is headed. Everybody and their mother is going to need to be vaccinated. So you might as well just go ahead and get it out of the way. There's going to be a lot of things, whether it be travel, whether it be, whatever the case, a lot of things are going to be required. Some employment in a lot of places. I know the company exactly. The company I work for requires us to be vaccinated. As of October 1st, every single person who comes in the building has to be vaccinated. That's the thing. And that's just where the world is headed right now, And so I get why you would or would not want, everybody has their own reasons, but at the end of the day, everybody's going to need to do it. Shout out Mike Ferguson, USF alum. He lives in Denver now. He said, in Denver, you won't be allowed to enter arenas without your vaccine card. I know in New Orleans, you can't go into restaurants without your vaccine card. That's what I'm saying. This is where the world is headed. If you don't want to do it, by all means, you're Aaron freaking Rodgers. I mean, people can cook for you and you can do whatever the hell you want. You're a millionaire. It is what it is. But at least lead by example. If you're going to do this and you're not going to sit on the sidelines with a mask on and you're putting everybody else at risk, Frank says it's a new world now. It really is a new world now. This is the world we live in. Keep your vaccine card on you. You never know when you're going to need it. It's basically like an ID or a passport at this point. You know, it's ridiculous. He said maybe in Wisconsin they don't require a mask in an open stadium to go state by state. And that's the thing, is that the NFL actually has the rule in place to where if you are outside and you are unvaccinated, you do not need to be masked. And so Carson Wentz still wears his mask in respect.
Well, he plays his home games are in a dome, technically.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's a good point.
At Lucas Oil or whatever it's called.
I guess that would be the difference, maybe. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, do you not like it's still one of those things. It's almost like a courtesy thing at that point, you know, like I'm a vaccinated guy. I'm in Mississippi. Mississippi doesn't even hardly believe in the COVID. Yeah, they think it's all a sham. Half of the people message us all the time. Quit trying to scare us. No, it's a real thing. But you know, half of the people in here, like, people will freak out, but I keep a mask on me just in case, because some people are just like that. You know, some people just are scared of COVID, and I get it. You know, it's a terrifying thing, and it can be a deadly thing by all means. You know, so do I understand the fear? Sure, but But it's also like, at this point, no matter if it's a political thing, no matter if it's a health thing, it's more of just common courtesy. It's like you know, it's like covering your mouth when you cough. It's like covering your mouth when you sneeze. Whatever the case, you know, now you just got to cover your mouth in general. Just shut your damn mouth. And Aaron Rodgers needs to be one of these people who shuts his damn mouth and at least get a mask on or something, just because, yeah, I understand the NFL has their rule to where if you're outside and, you know, you don't have to be masked up, but you're still standing on a sideline this distance away from people. You know, if somebody and just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you can't get it. Obviously, you know, I know you're vaccinated. I know you've gotten COVID since being vaccinated. You know, it's one of those things to where even if you're taking all the right precautions and everything, it still can get you. So it's just one of those things to where it's just going to be a thing that pisses off everybody for the rest of eternity, including Kyrie Irving. You know, Kyrie Irving's got to be on that list too. Obviously, that's been a big pain in the ass.
Annoying.
But yeah, so it's just been a fun time. But speaking of a big pain in the ass, Odell Beckham Jr. has been a big pain in the ass to the Cleveland Browns. He has been him and OBJ and OBS, both of them. Odell Beckham Sr. have kind of it's kind of an interesting situation what they've got going on, because we're past trade deadline, so we can't trade Odell Beckham Jr. And Odell's basically like, I'm not playing for the Browns. And the Browns are like, well, we don't want to have you play anyway. So it works out. But then it's like, well, we also don't want to pay you. We also don't want you to go to another team and perform better. They're in like a weird like limbo situation. And the video came out on Odell Beckham Sr.'s Instagram talking about like all these times that Odell Beckham's been wide open and they refuse to throw to him and everything like that. It's just kind of a prima donna situation. It's just Odell Beckham complaining and being Odell Beckham. Do you think this is more of a characteristic problem with Odell Beckham, or do you think this is more of just like player franchise, you know, a little bit of miscommunication situation? You know, I don't know how much you've heard about this or how deep you've gone into the situation, but you know, where do you sit right now in the OBJ situation?
I guess it's a mix of both. Odell is typically one of the more outspoken stars in sports, and it doesn't shock me that this situation is happening to him. Was his dad wrong to go out of his way and put together a tape of mistakes Baker has made or decisions Baker has made? Yeah, that was stupid. And, you know, for anyone that thought it wouldn't see the light of day, it's dumb, because, I mean, I guess that was Odell Sr.'s goal. Odell has been a bit problematic since leaving the Giants. If I'm not mistaken, the way he left the Giants was problematic. It's not clear to me, but that sounds right. Yeah, things just aren't working out in Cleveland. I mean, he was injured, and now he is underutilized. There's no denying that. And, you know, Odell Sr.'s video did somewhat prove that he hasn't been getting the opportunities that he deserves. I still think Odell Beckham's a good wide receiver. Do I think that, you know, the Odell catch made him somewhat overrated or kind of blew things out of proportion? Maybe. But it was an amazing catch, and it definitely got everyone's attention for years. And it's still something we talk about But overall, I do think this might have been Odell Beckham's last game as a Brown this past week, right? Did he play last week?
I don't know if he did or not. I think he may have sat out.
We wouldn't know because they don't throw to him, so he doesn't make headlines anymore. and that is what causes other headlines, like Odell Sr. going out of his way to put together a reel for everybody to see and everything. It's a mess in Cleveland. They're used to messes, but this is one of the sillier ones. Odell Beckham does deserve more opportunities, more targets, but that's football sometimes. That's just how they do things. The Browns at this point, I think, have more of a run-first offense anyway, since they have the dynamic duo of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt when both healthy. That's one of the better duos in football. So, yeah, I mean, Odell, I think, will see himself out of Cleveland, whether it's next week or at the end of the year. Who knows? But there are plenty of teams that could use a new wide receiver. So he will get picked up quickly.
My big thing is that, you and I were talking about it a little bit earlier today, or maybe another day, or I don't necessarily remember when we were talking about it, but I know you and I have talked about Allen Robinson in the past, and Allen Robinson is, I think it was actually earlier today, because I think you said, "Hey, what are your thoughts on the Bears actually throwing to Allen Robinson more?" That'd be amazing. I would love every minute of that. Allen Robinson is still, in my opinion, one of the top wide receivers in the NFL. And he has only out-targeted Darnell Mooney 2 times all season. That's absurd, especially going into week 9. Allen Robinson he's a stud. I mean, he made Blake Bortles look like a competent quarterback. He made Mitch Trubisky look great. Whenever he hasn't done necessarily too much with Justin Fields, but Justin Fields hasn't given him the opportunity either. And I think of it less. I think of it more as like OBJ causing issues just because you don't hear about it from Allen Robinson. I haven't heard today, or any time at any point in this season, Allen Robinson being like, "Hey, y'all got to throw to me more. You got to get me more involved. You got to do this." And I haven't heard him get involved with it. I haven't heard his dad get involved with it. So it's kind of like a quiet situation. It's one of those, as a Bears fan, we know he's not coming back. This is his contract year. He's only here because of a franchise tag in the first place. So we know he's not coming back next season. It is what it is. But I think Allen Robinson also knows that. And Odell does still have 3 years pinned up. At the end of this season, the next 2 years aren't guaranteed. So at the end of the season, no matter what, if he's still on the Browns, I'd imagine he gets cut. And he's going to get released, and he's going to get to go somewhere else. And I feel like the Browns are probably, I think you're right, where he might just kind of ride it out. And I've heard that the Browns front office has been meeting with the team with Odell and his team. And it sounds like they'll find a situation where either they're going to restructure his contract to where he could go down to about $3 million instead of $8 million this year. And then cut him that way. That way they don't owe him as much money, or they could either just let him sit with the Browns and then just cut him at the end of the year and hope for the best. The problem is if he gets cut, he still has to go through waivers. And if he's at $3 million, any team can pick him up. And it's just like fantasy football. The worst teams get the first bet. So if he's at $3 million and then he gets cut, if the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Detroit Lions go, "Hey, we want Odell Beckham Jr.," he could go to a team even worse than the Cleveland Browns and then be in a situation where he's not going to be happy because he's not winning. So it's a weird situation for Odell. I don't think he wants to be cut because he will have to go through waivers, and then he won't be happy where he ends up because he's going to go to some crappy team. I already know if he went through waivers and for a cheap price such as $3 million, he sure as hell isn't going to. He isn't going to make it to the Saints, to the Chiefs, to the whatever team needs him at the tail end of things. But it is what it is. Not the Chiefs. Anybody but the Chiefs.
Not the Chiefs.
A couple people chiming in on this. Michael Ferguson saying he made one good catch and has been overrated ever since. His production has actually gotten worse since making the catch. I think that's fair that you can agree on that. I know you had mentioned that with the catch as well. Frank said that Odell is a problem child, also calling him a cancer in the locker room. He definitely seems like one of the guys who's more about himself as opposed to the team on the front of his chest, at least looking out at least looking at him from a fandom standpoint. And he also said we should just cut him now. I mean, that'd be great and all to cut him now, but then you're going to have to pay him $8 million. Then he's going to double dip because he's going to get signed by some other team, and then Odell just wins at that point. I mean, at this point, it's a business. It is what it is. They don't want to lose $8 million. They don't want to have to pay Odell outright. It's just a shitty situation to be in.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, speaking of shitty situations, obviously the biggest news probably of anything out of the NFL right now is Henry Ruggs. And I want to step away a little bit from obviously that, rest in peace to the woman that he hit. Obviously he changed lives. He completely changed lives in all of the wrong ways because of some piss poor actions. I want to ask your opinion about not necessarily specifically Henry Ruggs, but the idea of having a team in Vegas. Obviously, Vegas is a very party city. Some other teams have come and visited Vegas, and players have gotten in trouble while in Vegas. I want to get your opinion because obviously you're a 20-year-old kid. Me, I'm 23. I'm old enough to play in the NFL. I mean, there's been players at your age who have played in the NFL. But imagine you're 21. You just got handed millions of dollars, and you're in the city that never sleeps. You're in Vegas. I mean, you're in Sin City, literally. It's kind of a daunting situation, and I'm not sitting here defending Henry Ruggs by any means. I think what the situation he did is absolutely terrible. You can't be driving 150 miles an hour. You can't be driving drunk. You can't be doing anything like this. But this is a really shitty situation. Do you think with the NFL, typically a more party league, typically having guys join the league a little bit younger, do you think that this could actually be a situation where we might see a lot of players kind of get in trouble in Vegas? Or do you think this is just kind of like a one-time scenario?
No, I wouldn't tie the city of Las Vegas to what happened. Party city or not, I mean, there are party cities scattered throughout the country. Atlanta, you got Magic City there. We've heard not only NFL players, NBA players, etc., share their times there. Obviously, Manhattan, New York City, that's a big one. LA, there's a scene. No, I mean, any big, big city, it's going to have its excitement. It's going to have its pros and cons. I don't see any real tie-in to the city of Las Vegas. I mean, for Vegas, this is the first incident of its kind that's happened since they moved from Oakland. What happened was terrible, but it's also something that could have happened in any city around the country or around the world. There's no real tie-in. It was a Chevy Camaro and a Toyota RAV4, two pretty common vehicles that, you see on streets all over the country. So it really, it was just the timing of it all, 3:30 in the morning, being twice over the legal limit, driving double the speed limit at least. I mean, it's all on Henry Ruggs, and he's going to pay the price for it.
Hey, but that's the beauty of it. You get your career basically thrown away because of it. I mean, obviously going 150, double the legal limit of blood alcohol content. I mean, you do a stupid thing, you pay the stupid tax. It's exactly what I said in the Pick'em video here recently. Whenever you do dumb things, obviously you pay the price for being dumb. So it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. Rest in peace, T's and P's to the family of Henry Ruggs that he hit in the car accident. And obviously he and his girlfriend, I'm assuming it was also in the vehicle, and they have a young daughter. So obviously T's and P's to the daughter as well. Hopefully it all works out. I know she's a very young child and everything. So hopefully everything works out. But Henry Ruggs going to jail for quite some time. His career is over, and it is unfortunate. But hey, like I said, when you do stupid things, you pay the stupid tax. But we're down to the final five, which means the final four. The final four. Do we have a final four topic? Somebody in the comment section, give us a final four topic. Try to ask Matt and I what our top 4 what is, whether that be I think we did sports movies last time we were here. We've also done jersey numbers. If you want to know our opinions on a top 4 situation, maybe it could be anything as long as it's sports related. Ask us our top 4 favorite, I don't know, ballpark snacks, or maybe
don't give them, just let them think. Let them think.
Yeah, hey, whatever makes you click, whatever you want to know. Let's see here. Frank said the Braves should try to sign Freddie Freeman, one of your top 4. What was that?
Frank. I don't know if you understand the premise.
Frank. Frank, what it is here we go.
Sports last names. Interesting.
Top 4
Jones,
sports last names.
Jones, Casey Jones, Sam Jones, Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, Adam Jones, Nate Jones, Todd Jones. Jock Jones.
Ooh, Jock Jones. That's a good one.
That's hot. Pac-Man Jones, among others.
I just want to see how long you're going to keep going with Jones.
2, Emmett Smith.
Oh, yeah, you forgot Julio Jones.
Julio Jones. That's, yeah, silly me. Smith. Emmett Smith.
Steve Smith.
Steve Smith, Alex Smith, Kenny the Jet Smith. Don't know why I picked Smith. Smith. Adam Page, Diamond Dallas Page, Moxley. No.
Moxley.
Well, you do a couple. I got to think on this.
First, JJ Smith, that's a good one. Hey, and shout out to you for moving the tissues. Oh no, he didn't. Just better framing this time, I see.
I could bring him closer if you want. It's up to
you. Let's see. Is Davis a good one? Is Davis a common one?
Vernon Davis,
Chris Davis, Ike Davis,
Wade Davis.
Wade Davis. There's
Davis. The guy that quit at halftime. Vontae Davis.
That's Vontae
Miners and Colt. He just dipped in half.
Davis. That man circled those wagons all the way to retirement.
Ed Davis. That sounds like a name.
Sure. We'll go with Davis. Ron Davis.
Yeah,
the Brow.
Davis.
Anthony Davis. Duh. What the piss?
That's a big one.
That's a good one. Let's see.
Trey Young, Cy Young.
Oh, Young, Steve Young,
Chris Young,
Steve Young,
the pitcher, Steve Young, the quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, Young's got to be a good one. Michael Young,
nice.
That's a fun one.
Tavon Young on the Rams, or he got traded or something. I don't know. Tavon Young.
Are you sure that's not Tavon Austin?
No, Tavon Austin's different. Tavon Young is a member of the secondary.
Oh, okay.
I know this guy's real. I just can't remember what team he plays for. Rodriguez is a good one. A-Rod. Sean Rodriguez.
K-Rod. E-Rod.
Francisco. Eduardo. Maybe it's not that good.
It's good for baseball.
Yeah, it's good for baseball. Ricardo Rodriguez, yeah. Rich. I think that's the same. Maybe. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, Ricardo Rodriguez either way does work. Ivan Rodriguez. Yeah, Frank got
right.
There's got to be some good ones. Oh, Eric.
All right. Sure.
That was a good one, though.
I mean,
that one gets us thinking.
That was an interesting one. That made you think. I mean, that could have. I'm sure there's plenty that we're forgetting. I mean, obviously, I was trying to sit there. We'll save that for the next one. Top 4 worst coaches. We will save that for the next one. I'm sure somebody write that down. But per usual, we got to end as always with closing thoughts, where everybody gives their final thoughts based off of what's going on in the sports world. Matt, your first closing thought.
Lightening up on the Maple Leafs right now. We love to see that. David Cohn joined John Boy Media, and that's exciting. I can't wait for the day that Jeremy Hellickson joins GMs for Hire. I think that's gonna be fun. I got a new pair of shoes tonight. I'm excited about that. First new pair of shoes in like a year. I don't know if that makes you think of me, but shoes. The Otani's on the back of this shirt, just in case any of you are wondering. It's not Trout. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best clothing thought yet.
Hey,
I need a haircut. I'll tell you that. It's going to be another like 2 weeks before you see one of those. Kirk Gibson,
Bob Gibson.
Kirk Gibson, Bob Gibson. It's all that matters. Matt Chelsea beat Malmo 1-0 the other day. Top of the Prem. Come on, you Blues. We're killing it. As long as everybody stays healthy, we'll be good.
Woo. Shout out, Mike. Y'all are the best. That's my closing thought, is that shout out to everybody who decided to come back after we took a month-long hiatus on Coast to Coast. We've had a couple of things, whether it be scheduling issues, whether it be health, whether it be somebody being out of town. There's been a lot of things. Plus, we've been doing the watch-alongs. We were doing the watch-alongs for a little bit as well. So it's not like we took a live break, but we were missing on Coast to Coast for a little bit. But shout out Justin, Frank, Brian, Hickey, Sal, a lot of Big Mike. A lot of people came out and were just a part of it. Brian, I don't think I've seen you on here in a long time. So it's good to see you back in here. It's just good to see everybody back in the comments section. Good to see everybody kind of getting involved and everybody being a part of the situation. Next week, we do last names that start with A. Maybe we'll combine them and the 4 worst coaches of all time. Yeah. 4 worst coaches that start with A.
Man City, Justin. Thoughts on Chelsea? I just gave them like a minute ago.
But yeah. Shout out to everybody who's come out, who has been a part of it, whether you were in the comments or whether you weren't. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate being live and being a part of things. But until next time, we are going to catch you. For Matt Perry and for Will Polston, GMs for Hire. We'll catch you in the next one. GMs for Hire.